So this was Kentucky's 4th loss to a double-digit seed in the NCAA Tournament in program history. 2 of those losses, though, have now come in the last 3 seasons. And again, they were a 13.5-point favorite, according to ESPN Bet, coming into this game. All right, back here with Jim Beheim. And, this game sort of indicative of Kentucky's last few runs in the NCAA Tournament. But specifically, though, Jim, from what you saw, what did the Cats lack tonight that led to this upset?
First of all, I thought they played well. I thought they finished. They tried to get back. They made 3 hard threes at the end of the game. But, hey, when a guy makes 10 threes against you that's averaging 12 points a game, that's how these games happen. And the players said it right. You have to understand this in college basketball. They think they can win. 15 years ago, a 14-3, they didn't think they had a chance.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't. The 10-7, 11-6, 14, it doesn't matter. These players are good. There's enough talent all around, and the transfer portal helps that. So anybody can beat anybody right now, and I believe that, and it's never been quite to this extreme. But in Kentucky, if you lose one of these every 4 years, you're not well thought of.
Yeah.
So obviously, John Calipari, I think, has done a great job there. I think he's a very, very good coach. But you got to win at Kentucky. It's just one of those things. And I think there's going to be a lot of noise for the next couple months in the state of Kentucky and everything around there.
Yes.
Because no matter where you go, you can be in Louisville and it's a Kentucky town. You know that. Other than there's about 20,000 Louisville fans there.
Yes, they're sort of surrounded there. But the Commonwealth is not well tonight, as I said earlier tonight. And that is the reason why, because of these recent losses in the first and second round.
By the way, Golke's going to be on SportsCenter with Scott Van Pelt coming up. Bottom of the hour over on ESPN, night of his life, 10 for 20 from 3. It's the game of the life for Greg Kampe. Now, he's only been at Oakland for 40 years. Now, you probably don't think that's a long time considering your history. But just help us understand, in a volatile business, 4 decades, 1 school, what this means.
And so you're at a 1-bid league school.
Right.
So to be able to do that, and he's a really close friend of mine, and I told him at the beginning of this year, I'm coming to the game when it's his 47th year to tie me.
He's got a ways to go.
But I did say, I hope I'm coming to your game.
You'll make it.
In that. But he's a great guy. He's resilient. And let's be honest. I want to tell you something. I watched this team early in the year. This is a very good team. And, the committee has to seed everybody someplace. This is better than a 14 seed. They can beat a lot of people. It's not a fluke. I think a couple guys on their team can actually play better.
Wow, that says something.
Yeah. But again, a great run by them to take down Kentucky. And again, they don't see themselves as a Cinderella. So you see what happens in the second round.
Yeah, that's the big thing. They feel they can win.
Right.
And they're going to get a real good team, obviously, whoever wins the next game. But they're there. They'll be there.
Let's dig into this more with our Sean Farnham, ESPN college basketball analyst who joins us tonight. Michael just went through a litany of numbers. Holistically, just macro. Not tonight. The last few NCAA tournaments. What is the problem with Kentucky?
Well, I think, you look at this day and age of college basketball, and over the course of the one-and-done era, there's only been 2 national champions that have been largely based on one-and-done players. That was the 2012 Kentucky Wildcats, the 2015 Duke Blue Devils. This team was a young team, and is in a one-game event like the NCAA Tournament, when Dillingham doesn't hit as many shots as he normally does, as Reed Sheppard gets off to a slow start, only hits that late 3-point shot, and struggles under these bright lights, this is the result that can come about it. And for John Calipari and the Kentucky Wildcats program, Michael Leaves would tell you this, they're not judged just solely based on how many draft picks they have. They're judged on the banners in which they hang. And the banners that they want to hang are national championship banners. And when you're 2-7 in your last 7 years of making the NCAA tournament, that is a disappointment for Big Blue Nation.
No question about it. Michael is a Kentucky alum. For those that are wondering, we should also mention here next year, when they start next year, you want to talk about the burden on Kentucky? Next year will be the 10th anniversary of their last Final Four appearance, and that's what they're defined by. On the other side, how did the Golden Grizzlies look so golden?
You do uncharacteristic things. I mean, Golke was unbelievable, and you look at those highlights, it wasn't like it was necessarily poor defense, by the way. He's hitting a lot of off-balance threes. It's the second time that he's hit 10 or more three-pointers in a game this season. It did against IUPUI back in February as well. But it wasn't just him. I mean, in some of those big moments when Kentucky was coming back and Reeves hit the three and Dillingham hit the late three and made it a one-possession game, this team never blinked an eye. It executed. It got the ball late in the clock when they couldn't get the ball to Gohlke. They got it to Townsend on the block. He hit a tough turnaround jump shot from the mid-range, and then Cole hits the dagger three in the corner to make it a two-possession game. This was about Oakland executing, and they out-executed tonight, and they took body blow after body blow in the second half. Plenty of times where you're sitting here and going, well, here comes the Cats. They're going to take over the game now. And they were unable to do it. And, yeah, Gohlke's the story in his first NCAA tournament game. I mean, this young man was a Division II basketball player at Hillsdale College. And in his first NCAA tournament game, hits 10 threes. That's the stuff that memories for a lifetime are made of. He's a legend now on campus. And now they've got to try to refocus themselves because guess what? They got another game.
No question about it. Another legend, a legend in the making, the guy that already was their head coach, Greg Kampe, who's been at the school for 40 years.
Dana Altman has never lost a first-round game since he's been the head coach of the Ducks. And they move on. They're going to play 3-seed Creighton on Saturday. Oh, by the way, Dana Altman knows a little something about Creighton.
That's right.
All right, so 2 11 seeds get the upsets on Thursday, in addition to what happened with Kentucky. Between Duquesne, though, and Oregon here, who do you like in terms of who could maybe make the deepest run as an 11 seed?
Well, you have to like Oregon. The reason they struggled all year, they didn't have their team together. Once Dana Altman got his team together, they started to play better. Yeah. And now they're playing like that team. So you got to discount a little bit what the season was. And that's true of a lot of teams. And you have to really understand that in college basketball.
Who they are now, not who they were.
Now. And that's the same thing for seeding and for getting teams into the tournament. The whole year is important, but I think the object is to get the best teams in the tournament.
True.
And these are upsets, but Oregon, I think, was a really good basketball team. I think they can go the furthest, but hey, LeBron James might even come. He never played in college. Maybe he can suit up for one night. That might help.
Of all the players I wish I could have seen play in the tournament, LeBron would probably be top of the list for sure.
No
Maybe
question.
Kobe.
No question. Yes, absolutely. I'll second that. Talk a little bit more about Couisnard. Michael said starts at South Carolina. Remember when he transferred from Columbia to Eugene, he was South Carolina's leading scorer. This is a big loss for South Carolina and a big add for Oregon. You have some special insight into the Ducks program, I know. What really impressed you most about this kid today?
Well, I just think it's how he's been playing all along. I mean, you look at his story, almost gave up the game as his mom was battling cancer, and instead he stuck with it. And then he finds a new home in Oregon and has battled through some injuries. And, of course, his team has battled through injuries. And Faladante was injured throughout most of the season, at least at the beginning portion. And then you look at the emergence of Jackson Shellstead, the very talented freshman. Dana Altman now improves to 8-0. All-time in first-round games with the Oregon Ducks. The last 3 trips he's taken Oregon to the NCAA tournament, they made it all the way to the Sweet 16. This team is a difficult matchup in a short window now because of the complexity within what they run at defense. Whether it's their zone, whether it's their man, whether it's lining up in their zone and switching to their man. Obviously, the opponent in Creighton is one that was less than a second away from getting to a Final Four a year ago and has that as their focal point. But I like the Oregon Ducks. I liked them as this tournament was beginning because of how Couisnard was playing. The second half of the game against Arizona, he had 33 points, finished with 39 in that game. He tops it today in the NCAA tournament with 40.
No question. I know you've told me all season long you were really impressed by how athletic Oregon was. It's just a matter of them putting it together, and they put it together at the exact right moment. So Michael just kind of took us through it. Duquesne, double-digit seed to win. First tourney win since 1969. Oregon, we just showed you. And, of course, the Oakland Golden Grizzlies. Of those 3 double-digit seeds to win today, stunning many people, who's got the best chance to go the furthest?
Well, I think, obviously, first of all, shout out for Dallin Cuff's dad, Dennis Cuff, who played for Duquesne back in the day. He's passed away, but just, want to honor Dennis Cuff because he was part of a NIT tournament win when he was at Duquesne. So I know Dallin's really excited about seeing his dad's alma mater perform the way they did today against BYU, completely controlled the tempo of that game. I think right now it is still the Oregon Ducks are playing the best basketball out of those teams. Obviously, Oakland has to emotionally check itself to come back down off this euphoric high after beating Kentucky and re-engage and lock into how they want to execute. But I do like the matchup against Creighton for the Oregon Ducks to get to the Sweet 16 and continue this ride.